The problem with this game is that because, I mean, the matchmaking sucks in the fact that there's so many people who climb ratings that, and then what ends up happening is the average, like, disparity between the best player in the lobby and the worst player in the lobby is so massive compared to what it is in any other game.
Did someone play Groot?
Support players turbo boosted? Oh man, support players are turbo boosted in this game, and this meta is the most... This meta, the more I play it, the more, like, my role is, like, melee DPS is so worthless in this meta, it's insane.
Let's
like,
fight on point, boys.
It's insanely useless in how much actual like agency you have. Like range DPS is fine in this patch, it's just melee DPS in this patch is so bad. Like especially when Cloak and Dagger is in the lobby and Magneto's in the lobby, so much of the game comes down to that. How the Magnetos and Cloaks play that matchup. But is your Jeff ult to save your team from Stranger if you're just looking for clips? I don't know, like you're right though, like the Jeff ult, you can pop the Jeff ult. I don't know how long you can stay down in the Jeff ult for before you have to come up and eat somebody, but it's quite a while. Why is Jeff considered a bad support? I mean, his healing is average, but mostly because his ultimate's shit. Well, his ultimate's not shit, his ultimate's really good, but like, okay, like Jeff's ultimate isn't a support ult that makes your entire team invulnerable, right? It's like a DPS ult.
Brute guard, guard.
And the rest of his kit is really bad. So now so you see, but the problem with Jeff ult is if you don't eat everyone, oftentimes you can die in your ult. Against well-coordinated teams, who know what Jeff's game plan is, it's like pretty easy to counter, right? Yeah, Rocket bad support. Yeah, Rocket's a bad support for the same reason. Issue is that the defensive support ults in this game counter every single offensive ult in the game, pretty much within reason. So that they're pretty much always better than the offensive ult. So any support character who has an offensive ult is just inherently weaker than a character who has a defensive ult, right? That's the issue of Jeff. So like Jeff can be viable if you play him in 3 supports, but then basically what you're doing is you're actually just playing Jeff almost as a pseudo hybrid DPS, because his DPS is actually not bad and his harassment is really hard to kill. Basically in Halo, if the support ult doesn't stop your team from dying for free, the support is bad. For the most part, yeah. Like right now, like the meta is playing 3 supports with either 3 invulnerability ults, or you're playing like an Adam Warlock as the 3rd one, which is slightly different, but it can also res your whole team and also can give Mantis team ups. So I think the biggest way you lose and win games in this patch is basically your support ult economy. 90% of well maybe not 90%, but a solid 60% of your games are determined exclusively by how good your support ult usage is, because of how much impact they have on the game. If you pop a good support ult, if you get your support ult first and you gain the tempo, you can the rest of your team can just walk on the enemy team's face and just kill them all for free. But I also don't think there's any way winning to not be boring. I mean, well, it depends what your goal is. Your goal to win, or your goal to get better at the characters you enjoy. That's what my goal is. So therefore, winning on Mantis doesn't really do anything for me. Playing the same character is kind of boring. It depends what character it is. If I play these characters, I enjoy the fuck out of these characters, so... Oh! Playing Black Panther versus Loki is so polarizing, because in theory, like... It's like so much value because you can get dash resets on his clones for free. But at the same time, his kit is so good into melee that like it's a bad matchup, you know. His EMX though, the problem with Zilian, you have if they get any Cloud Drakes, it fucks your character so hard. Or if they get any slow resistance, it fucks your character really hard. Cloud Drakes fuck Zilian so hard. Because even a little bit of slow resistance like lowers the amount his E slows by like an insane amount. Goes from like a 99% slow to like a 90% slow, which is an insanely massive difference. So does slow resist is a massive counter to Zilian. If someone doesn't have slow resistance, especially if they have no slow resistance and they have no tenacity, you can literally just keep them permanently stunned in place. Yeah, I mean, the dream is you play against melee characters. You play against melee characters who don't have dashes, and Zilian is just so disgustingly cancer to play against. Honestly, I think the ban prio in this meta is kind of off. I don't know why like Storm and Wolverine are like such high prio in bans. I feel like they're not as high prio as bans as like Luna. Honestly, even like Cloak and Dagger I think should probably have higher prio bans than those two. And I still think Hela's, I mean, I don't know, like people don't play Hela that much for some reason. I don't know why. I think she's still like by far the best DPS in the game. Like she barely got touched. I still think if you have a good hit scan player plays Hela, I don't know how there's no character gets more value than that. Top tier gets nerfed. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is exactly right. Top tier gets nerfed, but they don't get nerfed enough to not make them viable. But because they get nerfed, people have this like mentality that like this character's shit because they get nerfed, right? Well, I'll play melee DPS in Namo or tank into Wolverine. I'm probably melee DPS in Namo. I can see why Wolverine gets banned because he's just inherently, in my opinion, a terrible designed champion. I mean, Wolverine is really, really, really good, and he's the main reason Wolverine gets banned so much, in my opinion, is because he's super toxic to play against as a tank. And they just double support it again, by the way. Like, if you ever wonder why we're winning this game, it's not because I'm playing well, not because I get value, it's because their supports are ass. Because it's the role that matters by far the most. And if their supports make mistakes like they are, the game's so fucking easy to win. It's so funny the way Namos don't know how to use their bubble properly against Black Panther. The best way to use your bubble against Black Panther is to try and block one of the dashes with your bubble. Therefore, not only do you not take damage from the dash, but he also puts his dash on cooldown. Second his dash on cooldown, it's GG. Banning any DPS kind of feels debate. I actually unironically agree. To a degree, I think that that's kind of true. I think that right now in the current patch, you want to be banning mostly supports, but I also think there's an argument to make that you can be banning Magneto every game as well. I think Magneto being a solid ban is really good because Magneto probably, if Cloak and Dagger is in the game, I think Magneto has the single highest impact in the game. I think there's no character in the game that has as high an impact as Magneto. Because that interaction with the Cloak ult versus Magneto ult, either way you go about it, either bubbling your own Cloak during the ult, or killing their Cloak during her ult, is so much of a fucking swing in like value, it's insane. Oh, it's a horror. That no character in the game can realistically have that level of value. If you kill their Cloak and ult as thingy, you basically just win the fight automatically. It's almost no situation where you don't win the fight when that happens. Whereas there's basically no character in the game who can consistently kill. Well, there is no character in the game who can consistently kill through Cloak ult besides that. Even like an Iron Man can sort of do it, but Iron Man puts himself in insane big risk when he pops his ult, and it's harder to land than the Magneto ult. If that's how Winter Soldier beats you. I mean, Winter Soldier's a counter pick. If you play Winter Soldier into comps, Winter Soldier's good. He's legitimately S+ tier. And if you play him into comps, he's not good into. He's like A tier. Headshot of Hawkeye. I mean, if you can headshot of a Hawkeye, then sure, but like that's very, very hard to do. What's the timing? I'm not sure the timing, but I'm pretty sure like you hear the Cloak and Dagger ult, you pop your ult, and then when she completes her third dash is when you throw your ultimate. That's how you do it. But it can depend on like lots of stuff. Can you delay the Cloak and Dagger dashes? I don't think so. I think it's like a set thing. I actually don't know. I've never actually played the character before. I'm pretty sure you can't. Mario Week, it's like one day you just pop it and people run, like what are you going to do? No, Magneto ult's one of the best ults in the game. Because the thing with Magneto ult is not only is it a value damage ult that can kill for support, but it's also a defensive ult. Because like if they pop a Starlord ult, for instance, you can just pop your Magneto ult straight away, and it just basically deletes the Magneto ult. Like ults, like the best ult in the game, unironically, like Magneto ult, Iron Man ult is Iron Man ult's like a top 5 ult in the game in this patch. It's just the problem is the character is just kind of shit outside of Gamma, right? But like any ult that can kill through support ults is always going to be really good in this patch because of how OP support ults are. Don't like the design or he has a hook, yeah. If you just had the uppercut and his hook was replaced with something else, I think it'd be a much better character. I mean, they always need to add a hook character into the game. Like the thing that annoys me is the fact that you can do this with your hook. And being able to do that in a third-person game is disgusting. The thing is, right, is the ult charge. Ult charge's mechanic is designed to be basically the better you play, the more ult charge you get, right? That's generally the standard idea of it. But the problem is certain characters playing well doesn't necessarily mean farming damage. Like if I play Magik, I can just sit and hit the tanks all game. And like yeah, like I'll get more ult charge, but then I'm actually playing worse than what I would be if I actually played properly. And that, in my opinion, is a big problem that most of the melees have in this game. Can't switch against G animation? Yeah, you can't do that with thingy. Magical is so bad. It's so fucking trash. You use it 1v1 instead of backline. The problem is when you pop your ult, it actually generally puts you in a disadvantage in the back in a 1v1. Because you end up being you self-stunning yourself for a second is the problem. So it often can be bad to do that. That's the issue. Rocket has the highest win rate in the game. Yeah, I know, and he's the worst healer in the game besides Jeff. People still think win rate means anything in this game. In games like this, it's just insane to me. Rocket has a high win rate because he's a brain dead character. Like if you ask any high-elo player, like if you see any pro play games, there's not a single fucking game where they're going to be playing Rocket Raccoon unless they're playing it with Punisher. Like he's good with triple healer on defense on certain points. On like, if you play him like first point of hybrid maps on defense with 3 supports, he's actually pretty good. But I think in pretty much anywhere else, he's pretty dog shit. And even in those points, I'd still rather have a different third healer. When it margins are small, I mean, win rate margins, even if they're 10-15%, don't mean much. There's so many factors that go into a character's win rate, like that are more relevant than necessarily how strong they are. It's insane. Win rate based balancing is the dumbest fucking shit that people do. It is so bad, and so many games are plagued for bad balance because they look at win rate based matchmaking. Like Supervive is a good example. The strongest character in the game a few patches ago was Brawl, and then because his win rate stats were low because he was a hard character, they nearly pushed a patch where he was the only character in the patch who was getting buffed. And we had to tell the devs, like, you do understand this character is hideously overpowered, right? If this goes live, you're buffing already the best character in the game. Like taking win rate into account is sometimes can be quite useful in certain characters. But if you're using it as your primary source of balancing, the chances are you don't know how to balance games. There's characters whose design is that if they have a high win rate, it means they're hideously overpowered. Like, I mean, the most obvious example is a champion like Cassante. Cassante had like a 41% win rate in solo queue and was the #1 most pick ban prio in pro play in terms of top laners. So if you look at the win rate, is a 41% win rate, you have to look, that character's dog shit. Like, we need to buff the fuck out of him. And yet he's literally the best top laner in the game. Win rate doesn't mean much. Rocket is really against dive cars, is good in 3 hill comps. Yeah, but he's still like, if you were picking an ideal comp, unless I'm playing with a Punisher, I'm never picking Rocket in my optimal comp. He's like the 5th or 6th best healer in the game. At least in high elo. Like, yes, he's better against dive because he's harder to kill, but then, like, supports generally shouldn't be dying to dive characters anyway at a high level, if they're good enough. Rocket doesn't have... I mean, the thing is that Rockets... Once people understand how to deal with... killing the beacon is often the strategy, then all of a sudden his beacon gets way less value, and then the biggest problem is that in a game that ultimates are the most important part of the game, and most important part of the tempo of the game, the fact that your ultimate is much worse than almost any other support ult is a massive problem. Rocket plus Mag ult is guaranteed kill. Yeah, I mean, there's loads like for instance Magik. If you have Magic ult plus Rocket ult, your fully charged R&B with a Rocket ult will one-shot anyone through support ults, which is nice. But at the same time, like, the downside of that is that the issue is that if you pop a Luna ult or a Cloak ult and you run in the enemy team's face, you're going to win the fight just because you have a massive tempo advantage, right? Why do I wear glasses? Because they look swag. Rocket is good at certain comps, and Rocket would be actually terrible at the game. Yeah, I mean, Rocket's the easiest character in the game, period, I think. I don't think there is an easier character in the game than Rocket Raccoon. But, like, he is like, he's like what, like, Symmetra was in League of Legends. Symmetra was in Overwatch back in the day. He's a character whose value is basically predicated on having control. Being able to deny flanks and having a really hard comp to get picks on, because then when you do get picked, then they get res. Most of his value is coming from the res beacon, which means you have to put him in a position where his res beacon's in the spot where it's not going to die instantly. Nah, like his ult doesn't need buffs. Rocket ult doesn't need buffs. It's just that the other supports need nerfs. The more a character pisses you to play it. Yeah, but supports in general are easier to play than DPS. Because support, like, you can play Rocket and just sit behind your entire team just throwing right clicks on cooldown and get, like, decent value. You can't do that on other characters. I mean, I think, like, really what the main thing they need to do in this patch is they need to look at the ult charge rates of different characters, and they need to balance it. Like, so many characters, like, I think that ult charge from healing needs to be nerfed across the board by 25%, and I think that characters like Storm Like, Storm needs her ult charge rate nerfed by a lot. It's dumb that I can play just as well as a Storm on Magik and she can build her ult twice as fast as me. That's not good for the game.
Hooks one, hooks one, hooks one.
Nice big. This Invisible Woman shield is so OP, by the way. You could argue Magik ult's stronger than Storm ult. No, you couldn't. There's legitimately zero argument in any universe that you'd argue that Magik ult's better than Storm's ult.
We can play close here if you.
Storm has one of the best ults in the whole game.
Local.
Basically, if they don't have a support ult, it's a guaranteed team
Keep playing
wipe.
close corner.
Whereas Magik ult is like one of the worst ults in the game. And it builds twice as slow. Think I always be worse? Yeah. Like, Magik ult is one of the hardest ults. Magik ult's probably the hardest ult in the game to use. Like, Magik ult and stuff like Hulk ult, and even Iron Fist ult to a degree, are really difficult ults to use in comparison to the rest of the game. Because you actually need to, you're right, you actually need to think about what you're doing with the ult. It's not, almost all of the transformation ults.
No heals, no heals, no heals.
No, come back here, you fat fuck. Magik ult actually do, it basically just buffs your character, increases the damage of all your abilities, lowers the cooldown of your shift and your RMP.
Just hold the shield again.
Magik ult would be good. The biggest problem with Magik ult is the fact that it locks, it makes your character clunky. All your animations are slower, and it locks you in the transformation animation for a second, and then it also, like, when you're de-transforming, it locks you in the de-transformation for a second as well.
Both ults.
Oh, I can get a skill check. GG.
Swing the ult, swing the ult. Go poke as well. Nice.
Like, Magik ult, if the animations were shorter in terms of, like, either de-transformation animation didn't happen, or was short, and then
here.
Like, all of this stuff was lessened, the ult would be really solid. But it's just very hard. The problem is, if you pop your ult in neutral, the enemy team S keys in groups, and when the enemy team S keys in groups, you can never kill anyone. That's the problem with the ult. So then basically okay, fine, it's not an ult you have to use in neutral. But then it's an ult that you want to be using for tempo, right? That you're in a 1v1 or a 1v2 or like something like a Spider-Man ult where, like, you're losing a 1v1, you can pop the ult to win the 1v1. You can't do that either because it has a 1-second transformation. So it just basically sucks. Like, it so aids like how shit the ult is because of those two things. It doesn't really have a place. Like, Spider-Man ult can be pretty easily peeled. Oh my fucking god. But the reason why Spider-Man ult's one of the best ults in the game is because you pop the ult in a 1v1 or a 1v2 and you instantaneously win that fight. There's no way that they can beat you in a 1v2 or a 1v1 when you pop the ult because it gives you 300 HP and deals a shit ton of damage to everyone around you and stuns everyone afterwards. Ult spin slash E one-shots. It does one-shot, but it doesn't one-shot through support ults. It doesn't one-shot through good healing, and it's not consistent. The combo is very inconsistent, the timing of it. So the combo, because of that, it's not great. I think the main value of the ult is when you pair it with a support ult and you walk in with the Magik and the support ult and they don't have a support ult, but then you're trading in that situation you're trading 2 ults for 0, which is, and then it's also reliant on them not having a support ult, right? Fucking rewind that, bro. Honestly, I thought it was fucking these bitches up. Oh man, these guys are gone mentally. Gainsey today, start of the day was terrible, but I'm on like a 4-win streak now. I should not win this game. Magik play like Doomfist is very similar, yeah. Whereas Supervive, bro, I miss it. Supervive's just not a live game, unfortunately. There's no incentive for me to play the game. I don't enjoy the game state, and the game is also just like not good. How good do you think Magik is? I mean, I think Magik is a good character. The problem with Magik is that the meta is so unbelievably melee unfriendly. See right there, even if I time that right, I will get stuck in the animation of my detransformation. Like, Magik is a good character, it's just that there is no, I don't think there's a place for melee characters outside of Wolverine in the meta. I think the only reason Wolverine is in the meta is because he plays like a tank. He plays like a tank but does the damage of a DPS. I think once the support ult charge rate gets nerfed, I think we'll see a lot more melee characters come into the meta. But like, we win this game because our Magneto is passing the skill check on their... Like, their supports get no value because we're just better than them. Our supports and tanks are just better than theirs. So it's just free. Wolverine builds ult like crazy. Yeah, Wolverine has an insanely powerful ult, and it builds really fast, and he's also just insanely... he's insanely consistent a character in terms of the value. Yeah, I mean, 50 HP is so much. Like, if Magik had 300 HP, she'd be broken as fuck, right? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think. If Black Panther had 350 HP, ridiculously broken. So, like, giving him 50 HP and compensating with a nerf of 10% DR on his E being reduced, it's just not really... It's not really relevant. I mean, if Panther had 350 HP, oh my god, it'd be a fucking monster. I mean, 50 HP is such an outrageous buff. Like, do you guys remember when, like, in Overwatch, like, they changed all the HP of the characters by, like, 25? And it made such a massive difference in that game. Same principle in this game. 25 HP. Like, the difference between killing a Luna and a Mantis, like, I don't remember which one has, like, 275 HP, but, like, when a character has 275 HP, I think it's Mantis has 275 HP, it makes her... I don't remember if it's Mantis or Luna, but... Did they both have 275 HP? I didn't actually know that. Are you sure they both have 275? Oh, okay, well. Either way, the difference between killing a Mantis and killing an Adam, right, for instance, that 25 HP difference makes an unbelievably massive difference when it comes to killing someone as a Black Panther. Like, the fact that you have to hit one more ability or one more melee on the character in order to get the kill is so much of a difference. It's insane. So, and that's only 25 HP, but a 50 HP buff is even more than that, right? That's like an extra left click. Overestimate Magik's a good rate, but pick and ban rate low. Yeah, Magik's a good character who just isn't in the meta right now. I don't think she needs buffs. I think that melee just sucks on this patch. I think melee sucks more than it did last patch, and I think melee sucked last patch, but I think melee this patch is even worse because the natural counter to melees is supports. Supports and characters and DPS who are good into melee, and also characters who can fly. Right, that's generally the natural counters to. That's the natural counters to melee DPS. And what's OP right now? Supports are really OP. Flying characters are really OP. Both Storm and Iron Man in the right spots are really OP.
I can't go healer.
And
I can go healer if someone can go tank.
And then like anti-dive characters like Namor, Hela, and Bucky are like 3 of the best DPS in the game right now. Like, if there was a meta where characters like Moon Knight and Punisher were meta as the DPS, all of a sudden then you're looking at a much better like time for melee characters, because then all of a sudden, like, if they have a Moon Knight and I'm playing Black Panther or Magik, I'm licking my lips because I know I can kill that motherfucker like very easily. Cypher thinks Namor's the best DPS in the game. I don't think Namor's the best DPS in the game because I think he's still a situational pick. There's like I think that like there's a lot of situations where he just is worse than like a Hela, right? But I mean, Namor's very consistent. And the thing is that Bucky is not. Bucky's a character who's like is another example of a character who's ridiculously OP. He just doesn't fit in the meta because he's bad into other ranged characters that like Hela, and he's also bad into flying characters, and he's also bad into support.
I'm on high ground.
Yeah, it's Bucky.
But his actual tuning individually as a character, I think, is out of this world strong.
He's low.
Oh fuck.
What? 1 HP, 1 HP.
I can't. I
I can't
fucked
kill
up.
him.
Mag.
He heals.
Can you dash with Punisher?
Like, see how much damage I have to do to that guy to kill him is insane. Like the second, like for instance, if like
I'll Magneto ult, or sorry, I'll ult
if all of a
first,
sudden
and then
melee
try and
characters become
get
meta
the
in the
Magneto.
game, you will just see that Bucky skyrockets to like 100% pick rate. Meta characters can meta exchange because they auto ban. I mean, a good imagine group.
Magneto.
Yeah, I mean I think it's one of the really beautiful things about hero shooters I really like is that the meta, the characters that times in the meta they become viable even though the character themselves isn't even that good. Just because their character is so good into the actual meta that it's insanely strong. Even Magneto, I think right now, I don't even think Magneto is necessarily that good a character. He just his character fits perfectly into the current meta.
That's free. That's free. They're not getting any.
Oh my god, this guy's trolling.
Nice.
Doom into double shit. That right there, Trash
sorry,
Master,
Mag.
is basically the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
I actually.
Doomfist as a character was absolutely bang average in terms of balance, and yet he became a hard meta pick just because the actual true OP characters were counted by him.
Bucky half, Bucky 1. Hello,
Oh my god, that
nice.
demon was massive.
Mag.
Wait, he can put that in spawn? That's cheating, no? You need to hold these two guys off right here. Don't let them walk out.
Loki on point somewhere.
However, I do need my team to actually win.
Nice.
I'm literally just spawn camping 3 of them, bro. I'm just holding 3 in spawn. I think gameplay wise it's not be fun, but imagine if the devs made some Magneto could shit on Wolverine by giving me a bit of toss around and all that. That shit would be so fucking funny.
I have 7 and lose.
I know, but this is the issue of these games though, is that you can't have any lore accuracy because certain characters in the lore are just so fucking OP. Like, you look at Punisher in the lore, it's just a guy who shoots people. That's literally it, right? He's so useless in the grand scheme of things, it's crazy. Like, how is Punisher supposed to play
Whatever you want, bro.
into like a Magneto or
Magneto's
something?
nice.
I think counterpicking is more impactful, more or less impactful in Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. I think it's way more impactful than this game. Actually, I don't know. Probably less, actually. I don't know. It's hard to say, actually, because I think at this patch you don't counterpick as much as you just mirror, right? But I think it's the same in Overwatch. I mean, it depends on the meta. Like, counterpicking is always meta dependent. Certain metas was like, there's metas in Overwatch 2 where like you needed to just like be constantly like counter swapping tanks over and over and over again. But I feel like in this game it's not so much. Am I married? No, I'm not married. Nowhere near as many OTPs. I mean, you can't OTP in this game. That's one of the beauties about the game, is that if you're a quote OTP, you will just get banned every game, and you will never get to play your OTP. Did they ban Mag this game? No, I think Mag's still in the game, in the lobby. Panther, Bucky into Iron Man, if the spiders pay attention, is going to be a hard comp diff. They don't have Luna is the thing. If you don't have Luna, the Iron Man's a lot worse, because the orb on Luna is such a massive, such a massive part of the comp. 25k damage, I mean that's pretty fucking good on I mean 25k damage on Black Panther in this game's pretty good, no? It's just because his number's higher because his character will have higher numbers. Finals of damage, the thing is, Bucky always will inflate final hits as well. Because if he ults a target and I kill him, if I like kill him to get the proc, he'll get the kill, right? He always gets the kill. So it's like super inflated, like he's a stat inflate character. I mean, again, like you look at stats, like if you look at the way their supports played that game, it was so obvious why we lost. Their supports were just better than ours. Their supports just wouldn't let me kill them. I was fucking their supports 24/7, they just wouldn't die because they were good. Because if they're good enough, the supports pass the skill check, you basically can't kill them as a DPS. Alright, spawn camp angle here, but it's really going to be really hard because the mag is spawning. Oh my god! I hate playing against noobs, bro. Like, what? Why is she not dashed to block my... And then the fucking bitch right... Oh, wow! Wait!
My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. My team is so scared. My team is AFK. It's just bullshit. Hey, friends. We're all friends here. Hey, friends.